quartered. I think that we should bring back the D penalty, but with a medieval crime, barbaric like this, we should bring back medieval punishments.
Okay, right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Just bear with me 1 second. Right, if we bring back the D penalty for anyone who does any indecent things to a child or unalives them, smiley face if yes, we bring back the D penalty for them, sad face if no. Smiley face if yes, sad face if no.
Smiley faces have it, so we're bringing it back.
Yes, we are. Good.
Amazing.
But by the way, I don't care what religion you are, what skin colour you are. You've done something to a kid, right? You've had it.
You're going down. Yeah, and 100%. And you know what? Sadly, it can never come back in the UK because they made the law that it can never be repealed.
Why not?
It can't be repealed. That's the law that they brought in. The law was not just to take it away. Yeah. The law was not just to take it away, but it can never be repealed, so we can't even have a vote on it. Okay.
You can have a referendum on it.
No, they won't do it because it just cannot be repealed. That's in statute now. And the thing is this, that we should have it where there's a clear-cut case, not for where you have to weigh up the evidence and probabilities and all of that stuff and, circumstantial evidence, where you've got a clear-cut case that, there's absolutely no doubt, okay, caught in the act kind of thing, like this guy, then it should be an automatic, just take him to a long rope, okay, and the platform, and do the job.
Well, even if that didn't happen, come back. Let's just be honest here. Like, it may not come back. His life is going to be a prison because inside, as we all know, everyone, right? No one likes a child killer. No one likes it.
His life will be miserable.
So he's going to be looking.
He may be unalive, but they'll have a risk assessment on him. Venables was unalived in prison, and he'll be isolated and put into segregation.
No, I agree with you. But the thing is, right? Someone is either going to turn a blind eye because it does happen, or people are going to get that angry where the state are going to lose control, and they're already losing control outside. So inside, it's like, really?
Actually, somebody's made a comment.
Well, if anybody's listening with mobile phones in prison, you've heard it here.
Somebody's made a comment. Two wrongs don't make a right. There is that as well. But also, the other problem we've got is the last person to hang in the UK, Derek Bentley, turns out to be innocent. Okay.
Let him have it.
Yeah, let him have it. There's a famous...
Because he said, let him have it.
Yeah, what he meant was he basically was robbing a car garage and they're on a factory roof or something. And this is back in the 1960s. And he's got a young kid with him. Derek Bentley's a youngster. And he's a bit slow. He's a bit autistic. And the other guy... there's a policeman catches them on the roof. They've got a pistol with them for some reason. I don't know why. Okay. And the other guy, the older guy, says, let him have it. And Derek Bentley, the young autistic guy, just shoots the copper. There's a movie on this. There's a black and white movie. And it's and the film's called Let Him Have It. And there's a book as well. And so he actually got hanged because the argument was that the other guy said, let him have it. He did get hanged. Derek Bentley also hanged. There was a big outroar throughout the world, throughout the UK, people protesting in London for the young lad. And then he got hanged anyway. And he was innocent because actually what the other guy meant was don't let him, not let him have a bullet, let him have the gun. Yeah, let him have the weapon. But he misunderstood. Shaq. Yeah.
You're absolutely right, but there's no doubt in this case, is there?
Oh yeah. In cases of no doubt like this, it's clear cut. I mean, you can't argue.
From my perspective, my concern is that because I see it a lot every day, that a lot of people pull the mental health card and they're like, "Oh, that's it. I'm suffering with this, that, or the other, so you can't get done." And it's like, hang on a minute, no, you're not insane. You're sick. There's a difference. And it's not that easy. As someone who studies the mind and works on the mind every day, it's not that easy to be classed as insane. It really is.
Very difficult. And some people are just wicked, and there is that. Some people, they know exactly what they're doing, they take pleasure in what they're doing, and they're just fucking wicked.
All right, let me go quickly. Sorry, let me. I'll go ahead, Hussein.
This guy, what I've seen of the footage from ITV, he put a hoodie on and he put a mask on. So that, to me, doesn't suggest somebody who's got a mental health problem. Yeah, somebody who's trying to hide himself because he knows he's doing a premeditated act.
Oh, but hey, somebody's made a brilliant comment in the comment there. We need Sharia law. Now, Sharia law would have him unalived the next day.
Yep.
Does anybody oppose Sharia law right now?
I think that's a question that you're never going to get a good answer.
We're not going to get into that. Abdul, how are you? Good morning, Abdul.
Good morning. No,
yeah, you can have a say just like everyone else.
thank you for having me. And I was just going to say that even though Shaq was saying that the roping would never come back, if it did, there's been a lot of mistakes in the past where a lot of innocent people have been roped. True. But we're in a day and age where knife crime is rife, murders, rapists, paedophiles, it's rife. We do need it back, but we need to make it back where the politicians, the kings, and the elite of the country cannot and will not have any say or any kind of power to use it like they did in the past against the little guy. And if we did do that, I think bringing it back, and also it shouldn't be up to the public as well. It should be put to private judges, who can make the decision. If it has to be 3 judges or 4 judges, how they do a big panel sort of thing, I think that would work. But unfortunately, it won't be coming back.
May I say a quick time? I think the death penalty shouldn't come back to England, because then we'll be compared to America, where they're sort of, in Florida, it's still a thing. It takes us back so many years. We're not barbaric, where we're sort of just unaliving people, for the sake. I get, rapists. Apologies for the our people, the P people. They should have it, all right. But when it comes to sort of certain crimes,
Sorry to interrupt there. I don't mean to be rude to interrupt you, and I agree with you, Elop, there, because the thing is, let's just say come back, and it's like, okay, great, these have done this, these have done that, but then it's going to start being smaller things, and people are going to be getting the death penalty for something so tiny.
So this is what I mean by not giving power to the
state would lose control.
No, so this is why I said not giving power to the elite, just to the judges who need to make the decision with DNA, with actual facts, with actual hard facts and hard evidence. We're not in the 1950s where there was no DNA and there wasn't any kind of, court of law. It was just the king said, take his head, and it was take his head. That's the end of the story. It's a different age. It's a different day. We do need something we need a deterrent, and this soft touch isn't working.
May I say a quick time? Sorry. May I say a quick time? I think a life sentence in a prison is way more torturous than death. Death is such an easy way out, where these people sort of have a quick time, they're out of it. Shame, I think, is such a psychological thing where they need to live with what they've done.
No, but the sentencing. I'm going to interrupt you there. I totally agree with you. Yeah, let them face complete punishment. I totally agree with you to that point. But the justice system in this country has gone that soft that they'd probably. They'll probably look, and you wouldn't even realise. But if he'd probably be released within a few years or whatever X amount of years. He's back on the streets, and people like that carry out these indecent acts with children or anything like that. That's not a medical condition. That's something that's going to stay with them, and that is the reason why I say. They should not be here, because they still pose a risk in the long run. And also, imagine if there was ever one of these sort of things that happens in a prison where people escape. You've still got these people on the streets.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add on to Tony's part was a lot of people are seeing the criminal side of things. Now look at the victim. Look at the victim's family. Imagine this kid or this whoever this guy is gets maybe 15 years, and then after 15 years, those children, the innocent children that died, their parents are still around, and they see 15 years later the killer of their child walking down the street. Imagine the feeling they would have when they would think, my country hasn't done no justice for me, and 15 years later that animal, or like you'd put if a dog was to bite someone, you'd put him down straight away. Why don't we do that with vicious humans?
I agree.
You know, what we need is harsh treatment in jails.
I think, to be honest with you, I agree with you there, Abdul, mate. I completely
If you can put a dog down, honestly, if you can put a dog down, a dog bites someone for one time, and what's the first thing you do? You call police. The police gets that rope around his neck, that stick, takes him to the vet, and then puts him down.
Well, what I was just going to say was, right, I completely agree. But if he comes out after 15 years, if he ends up coming out of like Liverpool or Southport, I can guarantee he won't last 5 minutes.
No, but
He's not is he?
Why should the public?
Outside, that's it.
No, but why should the public give those families justice when it should be the law of the country that gives them justice?
I want to give you an example. I want to give you an example.
Justice.
All right, I'll give you an example on that. I had a lady that spoke up me on my other page a while back, yeah? And I'm going back quite a few months back now. And she got in contact with me and said, can you please help me on your page to highlight her ex-partner, yeah? All right? Now, she messaged, she was, extremely upset, and bless her, she was trying to put up post after post to warn people that this man was back out. Now, he had unalived her son from a previous relationship. He had unalived her son, and after the years went by, she didn't even know. She wasn't even informed by anyone of that high up in power that could have told her. Like, she wasn't advised. The way she realised he was out is he came up as a friend suggestion on her Facebook page.
Yeah,
and she was mortified. And if you don't believe me, you can actually go. I believe it actually was on. It was on one of the newspapers, and she was mortified after seeing it.
That's not just for parents. It's for, you know, like women that are being raped. And they're having to see that man, that trauma that they've been through, come out in 5-6 years, walking down the street like as if nothing's happened. And she's just looking at him thinking, you did that to me. I'm living with it. And you're just walking down the street smoking a cigarette.
Can I just say quick time? Life should mean life.
Correct.
Right? When people say life in jail,
life is going to cost
they
a
should
tax
die
man.
in jail. No, excuse me, sorry. They should
life
be
is going to
in
cost
jail.
a tax man. A rope doesn't cost 2 minutes.
Tony, can I just say you better check your comments, Tony. Somebody has just mentioned the name of the suspect. You better
Okay, I don't know how many mods we've got in. Can the mods please get on top of that? And you know what? I need to add a lot of mods. I need to add mods that have insomnia. That's like myself with these late, from 10:30 at night, sometimes till 4, around that time. So if you do, just message me. I'm not going to add people now, but if you want, just message me. I need to help control these, please. And if you're more than happy to mod, I'm more than happy to add you on. If you do join in and you are on these sort of late at night, and I don't expect, I'm not removing any of my own mods at the minute. Some I have removed today because I need sets of mods that's here during the night, because sometimes it gets out of hand and I struggle sometimes. The Observer, I'm more than happy to welcome you back on there. I've just added you there now. I'm more than happy, and it does get out of hand in here, and all I can apologise if some of the comments slip, I do apologise, people. But if you can, message me and I will look at some of the accounts that will be on late, because I'm trying to get it for a set time every night. where we can have certain debates and discussions from 10:30 till late, and it's going to be most nights depending on time things that I have to do the next day, but that's going to be the set times. Anyways, go back on track to where we was.
Tony, can I just speak a minute, Tony?
Go ahead, Tracy.
So, Marty will know this. So there was a massive big court case in Liverpool not too long ago where a guy, I'm not going to mention his name, but people will know, where he unalived an innocent little girl.
Yeah.
These people, if this person is going to be tried as an adult, which technically he can be,
yeah,
he ain't going to be going out after 15 years. That fella got 43 years. The next person,
good behaviour.
So the last two cases in Liverpool, both of the suspects, one who unalived a little girl, the other one who unalived a girl on Christmas Eve, they've both got in excess of 40 odd years.
Yeah.
He ain't be coming out. He's not going to be coming out before
Tracy,
that time.
Tracy, I didn't mean 15 years, as in actual 15 years.
No, I'm not
from a
saying you're
certain
saying
point.
it. What I'm saying is the laws have changed for what happens to young people. So the one that Marty will know about, who unalived an innocent girl who was in her own home, he got 43 years.
Yeah,
The other lad who unalived the girl in on Christmas Eve, he got 40 plus years.
yeah.
If he's tried as an adult, he ain't coming out before at least 40 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's 40 years on the tax man. That's us. And 40 years.
But we're not going to. We're not going to change. No matter how many people riot or this, that, and the other, the death penalty is not going to come back to this country.
It's not going to come back. No, I know that because Jack said it's part of. It's set law.
Legislation. It's not allowed to come back.
We know that, but there needs to be a deterrent worse than just a PlayStation in a
I tell you,
prison.
the deterrent's got to be what we used to have in the old days is corporal punishment, meaning beatings, the birch, whippings, the cat o' nine tails, where your
But that
skin
ain't
is
going to
flailed
happen,
off.
is it, Jack? Come on.
I know, it's
We
just
know that.
unfortunate.
Yeah.
But
It's
I
not
would
coming
take
up, we know
pleasure
that,
in.
but that sort
I'd
of
take
stuff
pleasure in doing that.
would have controlled everything. And on top of that, we've got problems with people coming from the outside of the country to inside of the country. It would deter them for it. If there was any criminals, like a lot of people are saying, that are coming through, then it would deter them as well. Not just
But what about the
within.
criminals who live here, who have
No, I'm
15
saying not just-
generations here? No one's
I'm
saying
not
anything about
just the
them.
criminals within, but also the criminals that are planning to come into the country. It would also deter them because they'd even think, if I go to that country and if I piss about, then I'm going to get the same thing. I don't want that. It would literally deter them off as well.
But it's happening all the time. My cousin was unalived by a partner who was an absolute psychopath. She was
Right,
51 years of age.
Tracy, I need you to not use certain words. Please, people in the boxes, please just be mindful of what
word
words.
did I use? Sorry, what was it? I said unalived.
MURDER. Just be careful with them words, yeah? All right? That time you said, I know the time before that, but that time you said that, but just be careful, please, yeah?
Right,
Everyone in the
okay.
boxes, just be careful with certain words. Just think about, and I'm sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry, Tracy, to hear that as well, yeah? And what, explain the rest of that, Tracy?
Well, it's happening within our country. Our own women, men, everybody, it's happening. We're taking it back to religion all the time. It's got nothing to do with religion.
Of course, there is separate things happening from all different, and this is what I'm going blue in the face, trying to argue for these last 2 weeks on these live feeds, saying, listen, you've got to understand that there's good and bad in everyone. And that's what you've got to understand.
I tell you what I heard of once. We're near the Falkland Islands, yeah? There's another island, South Georgia, which it's not inhabited. There's a steel mine there or something, or a coal mine there, but there's literally nobody living there. And it's very, very cold. So I don't know if anybody knows what the Falkland Islands are, but if you're sort of over 45, 50 plus, you'll know. We fought a war over it with the Argentinians in 1982. But we should maybe create a colony I mean, not like Australia, because Australia is a nice, hot, warm place. Okay, we sent all our criminals to Australia, and they're all living a better life than we are now. Okay, but maybe we should send them to somewhere like an island in the Atlantic, which is cold, miserable, nothing to do, where you.
But we tried that with Australia. Did it work?
No, that's what I'm saying. Because Australia was a nice place. There's nobody. Yeah, this is cold and miserable, and you end up committing suicide because there's nothing to do. You get bored out of your head. You take your own life. So
that's costing flights, costing tickets, costing.
No, you just take a ship down once a month. I know, but you just leave them there to fend for themselves. I know, but you just leave them.
If it was compulsory to go into the army, navy, or any kinds of forces here, our life would be
no. But the military don't. But the military don't want them. I'm ex-military, so the military don't want them because they want disciplined, decent people. They don't want out of control.
No, I don't mean that. I mean if it was part of our.
Oh, you mean if we had national service?
If everybody in the UK had to do service like
yes,
in other countries, we wouldn't have the problem in the UK that
Tracy,
we've got.
Tracy, can I just come in there? Shaq will back this point up. Shaq, you've been in the army. I read somewhere that one of the generals said we have a problem recruiting into the British Army in the UK. And the problem he said was the issue is respect for authority. He said we can't recruit if they don't take discipline and respect authority. You can't run an army without authority and individuals obeying commands. Correct? Yeah. He was right.
Yeah.
Okay, can I say?
Look at all the guys.
Sorry, can I?
Yeah. I mean, the military don't want. Realistically, the top brass in the military do not want conscription because they just know the standard of the average youth is crap.
Can I say quick? Sorry, Shaq. Sorry,
go
can
ahead,
I say?
Elab. All right, yeah, go ahead. 231.
So, because I'm currently right now, I'm in the military. That would not work. The way the military. So we're sort of the best force in the world. I know we're short on people, but we're still one of the best because we're sort of hardworking people.
Proper professional military.
Yeah, we are still one of the best professional military in the world. What I'd like to add is I think we need to take a page sort of out of El Salvador. I don't know if anyone's heard of it, where they've sort of taken all the gang members and they've pushed all the criminals into one area, and I think that is a major deterrent from criminals. Where they're actually one of the most safest places nowadays.
Well, El Salvador had the highest murder rate in the world. So they've got a new president. And now they've locked up and jailed all the prisoners. And now, but the problem is now you've got people campaigning for the human rights of the prisoners because they are very brutal the way they treat them in the jail, which is correct.
I'll let you continue back on that in a second. Sorry, I'll let you go back on that in 1 second. The cockroach.
Hello.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm all right, my lovely. How is everybody? Hope you're all okay.
Oh, good. Thank you for asking.
It really isn't. There's lots of wonderful people in the world. And a lot of wonderful youths in the world. They're not all lazy and whatever. I want to just make a point, if it's possible, that why are we going to now pay for this person? I don't know if they're a British citizen or whatever, but why are we paying for all these people to be in jail, feeding them, looking after them?
That's what I'm saying.
Why are we doing this? Why aren't they deported immediately
this one's a British citizen
in their own prisons in their own countries?
Cockroach, I'll answer that. Let me answer that for you, please. First of all, this lad is a British citizen, so he's our responsibility. He's born here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but secondly,
his name is Axel. That's what they're saying.
Secondly, if let's say you've got a foreign national, there's no guarantee when you send them abroad they're going to serve any sentence. They're not bothered. They didn't commit no crime out there. They just let them go. Okay, so what we should be doing is make them serve a sentence and then ship them out, but we don't, because our successive governments have got agreements that they're going to ramp up immigration. And I'll tell you what, a lot of it is behind the industry and businesses and agriculture. They need the manpower. They want the manpower. They want cheap labor. Yeah. So industrialists and billionaires love mass migration.
Can I just interject there? I read some data last week because I get a lot of data sent to me from different government agencies. And for the first time this year in England, and I couldn't believe this, we had less births than we did deaths. So there's not going to be enough young working people to look after the old people and put into the system. I was shocked because I thought, wow, surely we're having more births because of everyone coming in.
No. But you know what it is? Since the jab, the rollout of the jab, it's having a massive impact on fertility and miscarriages. So huge increase. And then on top of that, we've got a 20% excess death rate right now, which is more than during COVID. So more people are dying now as a result of the medicine, as a result of the so-called medicine. Yeah, I mean, in the last 12 months, I've attended about 24, 25 funerals. I would normally attend 3 or 4 in a year. And down to the youngest one, my son's college mate, who used to play football every week with, 17-year-old kid. Within 18 hours, he dropped dead from it. Okay.
Yeah, but there's been people who are just dying from like no symptoms.
But they call it sudden death, and they try, and the government trying to convince you.
Jack, you got a warning. I've got to remove you. This is what I'm trying to tell you, people, to watch what you're saying in the chat. Jack, you've got a warning. I've got to drop you out. People, if you're not following the page, please click follow, because if I get a warning, I'm just going to end the live straight away. So click the follow button. If you're not, that's why it's very, very important, people, what I'm telling you about the names. Yeah, very, very important.
Can I just say
words
quick?
that you use.
Sorry. Can I just say quick? I sort of was I know Shaq just been kicked, but with these sort of El Salvador method where they're pushing people into one room, I think that's a deterrent for criminals. And he was chatting about, human rights. But at the end of the day, if you're a criminal, you've given up your human rights to become a criminal. So you don't deserve it. You've given up your right to be in a social society where people are acting normal. And you've given it up when you do a crime. So you don't deserve rights anymore. You need to be punished. So
100%.
Getting back into El Salvador, where they've sort of pushed criminals into these small rooms, you deserve it. And I'm sorry if I'm using certain words. Sorry for Tony, but you don't deserve it. You don't deserve your human rights if you've given it up by sort of doing things against society, by ruining society. Because we're all humans. You know what I mean? We're trying to follow we're all abiding citizens, law-abiding citizens. You've given that up. Now you deserve life. You deserve life in jail.
Yeah,
sorry.
They tried that in Leeds.
I watched a video about El Salvador. I watched a video about El Salvador. Why don't people write to the MP and say, why don't you go on a fact-finding mission to El Salvador and look at the methods they use?
It should be the death penalty. I'm not even going to lie.
Yeah.
Kimmy, if you can hear me, you're echoing. Close the app down. Make sure you're not connected to Bluetooth or headphones on, and request the box again. I will bring you back up, but you're echoing that time.
I agree with you, Kimmy.
Abdul, you're very, very muffled now as well. I can't hear you.
Sorry, mate. I just covered my mic for some reason. So there was a thing that was done in Leeds, not as big as the El Salvador one, but it was for the, how do I say it without getting cancelled? The ladies of the night. You know, the ladies of the night.
Yeah, we get you. Yeah, we get you.
Yeah, so they put them into a certain part of Leeds and said, this is your area, this is where you can do what you want to do, and that's the only area you can do it. What ended up happening, these ladies of the nights, they ended up getting murdered every 2 weeks.
All right, be careful with that word as well. Unalived,
sorry, unalived.
Unalived. I know it's difficult, people. I know it's difficult but you just gotta Just gotta remember you'll come out any second. They will flag it up, you know. That's all.
Yeah, so they have tried it in the UK with the ladies of the nights, but if they kept getting unalived every 2 weeks, yes, I get their job is risky, but you know, a life is a life. You just can't go around taking it just because you can't pay up. You know.
And I'd like to quickly add, the El Salvador. I know I keep coming back to it. I do apologize. Oh, can you hear me? I'd like to apologize. When El Salvador is not held by the elites, these are genuine civilians who are controlling their population or their crimes. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, back to you.
Yeah.
No, that's all I was going to say. If anyone else wants to take over, that's fine.
I think all in all, like,
Can I say something about El Salvador? I've recently seen pictures of El Salvador, and these people, there's vast amounts of people in these prisons, and they're like cattle. They're all just in there looking out. I mean, do we want to live in a society where we're having to lock up most of the people we don't agree with? I don't know.
No, but that's what I'm saying is you've given up your rights by becoming a criminal. If I go out and God forbid, I would never do this. If I go out and do a crime, I've given up my right to be in a social society, in a law-abiding
I
society.
understand that, but we could go back to some sort of Dickensian time where taking a loaf of bread, or where do you draw the line? What is the crime?
These people who are MS-13, MS-18, these people have killed a lot of people for the sake of their gangs. All these killers are cattle now because they've given up their rights. If you've stolen a loaf of bread, you will be put in a different prison. These people who have killed, people who are just trying to live their lives, you've given up your right. You've 100% given up your right to being in a social society. You've ruined it for yourself. You deserve to be put in that prison. Now, people who've stolen a loaf of bread for the sake of their family, I'm sure they're dealt with accordingly.
Just coming on to that
Hasn't there been news coming out from Labour? I think, was it 2 weeks ago before the Leeds riot, where they said they were going to 40% of the sentences are going to be what do you call it?
Yeah.
Reduced or something, because the prisons are so full.
Overcrowded.
Yeah, so like it doesn't work. Honestly, the prison system is not working. They could keep building more ones, and they're going to get filled up. Build more ones. By the time you finish, social housing won't be enough. We'll be building more prisons and houses. It's ridiculous. They need something tough. They need something that puts the fear of the law in people. A lot of people said the fear of God, but if people want the fear of the law to be put into people, they need to fear it in such a way where, you know what, if they think about pinching, I don't know, some old person's, whatever they take from an old person, they need to fear the law. They need to think, you know what, the law's watching me, the cameras are watching me. But now they're thinking, who cares if someone's watching me? I'll get 4 years, I'll get 2 years, I'll get this year. Criminals know the law more than the average person, because they're thinking, they'll put 2 and 2 together. I'll just get 6 months, that's fine. Behaviour and I'll be out.
Just on a different perspective, why are there all these gangs? Why are people so allegiant to them that they will kill people for these gangs? That's the issue for me. Why has society broken down so much that the community is now gang-led, mostly in certain areas, and not socially led? You've not got a social conscience. You've got a conscience for a gang. Can
I just say quickly? I think it's down to, and we're taking this down to a micro level, where it comes down to parents, where they've not taught their children how to act in society, where they've sort of just let them free.
I don't believe that.
No. Okay, and I get that, Abdul. But, I think parenting nowadays is just very lax, where they sort of just let their children do what they need to do, and they sort of find themselves into gangs, and then they grow up with it. And I get, more impoverished areas are sort of just let go. But I think
even that I don't believe, because, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, please.
Mothers and fathers will do anything, and there's plenty of mothers and fathers on this line would literally do anything to teach their child to be a good, upright citizen, living the right way, paying their taxes, you know, respecting the law and everything else in between. Poverty or
Abdul,
not, people
Bebop is right. If you look at the Roundtree Foundation research, Harriet Sargent, the journalist, she published a book, Street Gangs of London. In that research by the Roundtree Foundation, it showed, I'm not getting at single mothers here, that if there isn't a father figure in the house,
I was going to get to that. Yeah.
the child will end up being bullied at school, getting into a gang, getting into drugs, and the next stage is prison. That's the trajectory. You can go look at the research.
Because
the Roundtree Foundation has already done it. We have a breakdown in family values, the family system. Both parents are needed, mother and father, to instill values into the child.
No, but that's the father's fault. That's actually the father's fault, because even if she is a single mother, you as a father cannot and should not abandon your child, because at the end of the day, he's still your child.
Can I say, Abdul? Sorry.
You need to be in his life. You need to choose to be in his life. And then, even if he is getting bullied at school, I've got friends that
Sorry, Abdul.
split from their
Abdul,
partners.
you don't know about the family court system in the UK and how it's prejudiced against fathers.
No, this is what I'm saying. I'm saying I've got friends that are split from their partners. That my friends are still in touch with their sons and daughters. The fathers are still in touch with their sons and daughters. They go to them every weekend. They'll talk to their dad, you know, about being bullied and whatnot. The dad will go to the school and talk, and people will see the father. The authority is there. But you as a father, you need to be in the life of your child. Now, if you abandon that child and then just blame the single mother, it doesn't work like that.
Bro, Abdul, can I just say quick? Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
God, sorry. I'm not blaming the single mother. What I'm saying is this is a system that we have in the UK. And that's the research that I'm quoting. That's the facts. You know, you can go look it up. You know, Roundtree Foundation.
I know the facts. I know that bit.
You know, and that's why we have this delinquency. Harriet Sargent is a very well respected, some might say right-wing journalist. But I read the book that she wrote. It was a very well-researched book. It was about street crime, knife crime in London. Yes. And I suggest people go and read it, because it's an eye-opening follow-through of gang culture in London, knife crime in particular.
Can I say quick from Hasbullah and Abdul? Can I just say one thing? So, and I agree with Hasbullah and Abdul. Sorry, Hasbul. So, it goes back generations. It goes back generations where fathers are constantly leaving, whereas we need to cut the line right in between, where we're bringing up good fathers, good children to become good fathers, to raise good children.
There, I've lived through the 80s and job crises and pits shutting and steelworks shutting and boatyards shutting and traditional male.
I can't have to stay around for that.
Going, and I think males have had a really, really tough time. They haven't had a rite of passage, an understanding of, like their fathers and their grandfathers, of this work ethic, training.
And that's what I'm saying, Cockroach. I think it goes back so many generations that we should nowadays, as English people, as a society, where we need to cut the line and teach children to become good fathers, because they will grow up and they will need to teach their children how to be good fathers. And
can I interrupt here for a minute? So that, all right, okay. So that one particular male that committed this horrendous act, that wasn't. He wasn't from a single parent background, as far as I'm aware now, from what I've developed. So, it can just happen, can it not?
It can.
The journalist who's investigating this from ITV, he said that the motive was so unclear they couldn't understand what's going on in his head. They still can't really fathom why this particular incident took place. So yes, it can happen. Obviously, we can't talk in generalities, but we can look at what the evidence base shows. But I think some things are just inexplicable. Can you explain evil? I mean, I can explain.
It can happen to anyone. But I want to start getting back onto the main topic of just going back. you know, like we are speaking about what's happening around this country right now. You know, we're talking about, and the lady Annie, she was a lovely woman that came in speaking earlier on. Now she said, you know, about this protest on the weekend, right? So I want to go back onto that, because I want to get back onto what is actually happening right underneath our eyes. And you know, there's a lot of violence, a lot of hatred up and down the country right now. And what can we do? What can we do to try as communities or as just the people, what can we do to try to put a stop to this?
Well, Tony, I was just going to say that, to be honest with you. Sorry, so like, I was going to just go back on that, because when I was doing my degree, you know, we did a case study about the parenting, and this is relevant to the situation that we're dealing with now, because the thing is, what I found is through many case studies throughout many years now, a lot of them, these young youths, men and women, you know, mixing with the gangs, a lot of them not only coming from backgrounds where they may have one or, you know, no parents at all, you know, they may have been exposed to some level of harm, if you will. Trying to be careful what I say here, but it's created this belief system or conditioning in the mind, and a lot of it can also be generational trauma. So that's a bit something else no one else has mentioned here. But I just want to bring that up, because generational trauma is a thing, and it happens, and it's up to that individual to find a way to deal with that, even if they're dealing with it through talking to family, friends, or a qualified practitioner. But it has to be dealt with, because there are a lot of people throughout the UK who have generational trauma, and they're not even aware of it. They're really not. And I think what doesn't help as well.
We're coming now into third generation heroin addict families, that grandparents are addicts, and traditionally grandparents used to bring children up if the mother or father couldn't cope. Well, we're coming into the situation now where people lost their community and their jobs in the 80s.
There's no responsibility no more. That's what the
and the community's ill.
Yeah. Well, what I was just going to say was, the other thing that doesn't help is, like, what I found back in Liverpool is that there are places throughout the city where the governments aren't going to help. They're just going to neglect the different bodies, really. Yeah. And as a result of that, you know, a lot of these youths aren't acting out and robbing and stealing and causing harm because they want to. It's because they've tried for generations, calling out for help, and the government has said, you know what, you scum, you're no good, you know, you live on a council estate, you're not going to help you, you're not going to do anything, and all this, and they look down at you, and these people are just benefiting for themselves.
Because they're called sink estates, where the people are put basically to be flushed down the pan, and they're called sink estates, and everyone's just pushed there and left.
Did Rishi Sunak do that? Rishi Sunak himself admitted in his constituents where he took money from the poorest areas of his constituents and he gave it to the richest areas.
Yes, that's right. That's absolutely right.
He actually admitted.
He laughed about it as well. He boasted about it.
He laughed and had a giggle with his friends about it.
We have something in this country called the Tudor Hart Law, the inverse care law. So the people in the poorest, most deprived communities in the UK, they get the least access to health services, and they have the worst outcomes in health. So if you go to the south of England, you'll see people well off, have prosperity, have jobs, have money. All their outcomes are very good. They have the longest life expectancies. So we have a sort of like whole structural problem in this country of inequality. That Marty, generational trauma, that's absolutely right.
Can I just say,
you see it so often.
Would it take someone from a sort of impoverished person who was living in sort of this lower side of socials to come into Parliament to sort of improve the life, or would it take a rich person to improve the life of the general public?
Well, hopefully we've got that Yorkshire woman there now, so she's come from an impoverished kind of background. What's her name? I don't know her name.
Angela Rayner.
The redhead. Yeah.
Angela Rayner.
Yeah. So hopefully she becomes the next Prime Minister. And
the problem is people have lost trust with politicians in this country. That's the issue you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like,
And people
Starmer,
trust
I don't
politicians.
trust Starmer. I don't think he's a Labour.
The job for psychopath
no.
is being a
I
politician.
believe he's
not
an
serving,
undercover. He's
interested
an
in
undercover
themselves.
Tory. I think he's an undercover Tory. I think that that lady Matlab just said.
This is why Nigel Farage, I hate to play devil's advocate, this is why Nigel Farage and the Reform Party, they've got so many votes. We have proportional representation in this country, and if the system was different, they'd have got a lot more MPs. People are disenfranchised, disconnected from the political elite. The political elite are disconnected from the public in general.
I personally think that a lot of things have happened
He's
badly
got too
in
many
this
connections
country.
with America. I wouldn't want to trust him, honestly.
I think that a lot of a lot of these protests have happened. People are sort of siding with Nigel Farage nowadays because people sort of see his views a bit more now.
He'll give everything. Once America says privatize this, privatize that, privatize this, they'll be like, yes, yes, yes.
And we don't want to be part of America. I mean, like
We
America.
already
He does
are
the common man.
privatised. Take your
Despite being a
blinkers off.
banker, he does the
The
common.
NHS is privatised. If you can't
Not as
see
much.
that.
Not as
Okay,
much.
can I just quickly do a poll? I'm just gonna stop you for a second. I'm gonna just do a poll. We're gonna do smiley face if you think Nigel Farage can actually make a difference in this country. Sad face if not. Smiley face if he can. Sad face if he can't.
Smiley face is a good
I'm
one.
going to give him a go.
I think
I'm going to
Nigel
give
Farage.
Nigel.
Sorry.
I'm going to vote Nigel.
Oh, it's neck and neck. No, it's not.
I think Nigel Farage has sort of used these buzzwords to become, sort of a Tommy Robinson side area, and they're sort of pandering to these right side people. And now a lot more people are coming out. That's why we had the protest in London, and a lot more people are sort of siding with him. If you know what I mean.
Don't they always use
He
buzzwords?
has the
though?
ability to
That's across
communicate to
scale.
people.
It's like
I mean, whatever you think of him, and whatever you think of him in his politics, he sits there with a pint of beer in his hand. He has the ability. He's charismatic. His ability to communicate and connect as a politician. Why has he got so many votes? He only became the leader of the party a week before the election, and look how many votes they got.
Yeah, but he went straight to America.
Exactly.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah, America. What's
He
wrong
went
with
straight to
America, though?
America
What's wrong
after.
with America? What's
There's
wrong
nothing
with
wrong with
Trump?
America, but having that connection where your laws can be controlled by America, you won't have any. ability to-
When United though, America, whatever happens in America affects us, right? We're
Not really.
allies.
Not really.
Well,
No, the allies
yeah.
in terms of security, but
Well,
not in terms of
well, yeah,
like,
in a
gun
sense.
violence. Gun violence over there. It's
that's
crazy.
that's a different story, and that is they've got to protect that amendment and.
Well, the Conservatives let the Russians in, the oligarchs own nearly everything at one stage. I don't know if they still do.
Yeah.
Yes, who said that? Judy, I read somewhere if you have 80 people on a bus, they own more money than 4 billion people on the planet.
Wow.
That's a fact. Yeah?
Yeah, the rich are
Someone
there.
just said Boris was charismatic.
1.5% of the world's population have $213 trillion in wealth.
To the people
we're
waiting in
living
the
in
boxes, I
massive
will
inequality.
get you up.
Going
I will
back
get
to
you up here in a
Victorian
second.
times in inequality. We're going back to Victorian times of poverty and inequality and this difference in wealth. People are struggling.
yes,
We've got
it's
cost
people
of
like-
living.
people
People
like
are
Rishi Sunak.
banks.
You know what? It's just made me think.
Yeah, billionaire.
Remember in Victorian times we had workhouses? Well,
Someone's muffled. Who's talking? You
we
muffled.
build it. We know how we had workhouses in the Victorian times for poor people. Well, now they're building more prisons that are just really housing people that are desperate, often
That's correct. I believe that.
disenfranchised from the communities and the state, and they're going around in these gangs because they feel they're part of something, part of a family, a gang. And
Yeah,
yet we're not
it's not-
tackling the issues.
It's not just under because a lot of homeless people just want to go into prisons just to stay warm.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then you've got those people that have they have that drug called spice and just stand there like zombies. Those people are wanting to go into prisons because it's just warm and sheltered. It's completely out of. I don't know what they've done to society, but they've just made it into such a. I've never seen a spice head in my life until the Tories came in. I was just like,
Do you know what's gone? Do you know what's
Tiggs.
gone wrong with society? Sorry, what were you going to say? Tiggs, sorry, you mentioned my name.
I know you have nothing against America, but we are
nothing.
because we've so England, even though we're such a small sort of island, we are an island. We have made such a name for ourselves in the whole, the world, generally the world. And that's because we're not like America, because we...
I am English. I've only got American because I support Trump.
Oh, no, same. I do support Trump as well.
Yeah,
I'm saying,
don't get that.
we aren't like... We have made such a name for ourselves because we aren't America. America have their own problems where they sort of have a two-state problem.
Of course.
With themselves, they fight. They genuinely kill each other because of those two-state problems. But in England,
get that.
Okay, let me ask: have we got many Trump supporters in the chat? Smiley face if yes, sad face if no. Click on the emojis, people. It will add to the vote.
Subject for many, innit?
I'm sorry for diverting.
And this is where the guy kicks us off, like literally.
I'm sorry for diverting.
All right, listen, I'm going to have to make some space as well for the boxes. I'm not going to kick everyone out, but I'm going to have to. Judgy McFudgy, have you had a say yet?
Thank you. Tom said today on the TV that Britain is not so great anymore, that we're like falling into whatever it is they're not. So I don't know about that. But anyway, what I wanted to say was this guy that murdered these two children, the 17-year-old, did anybody think that maybe, according to the press on the TV, that he was a lonely child, he stuck with his mother, he was not very confident. Do you think maybe it was online trolls, online influence?
Is this the shoot of the President Trump?
No, she's talking about the South.
Right, okay. Yeah, right,
Yeah.
okay.
Right,
okay.
no, Trump did say Britain wasn't so great anymore, and he did say that today. But anyway, the guy, I was thinking, if he, a 17-year-old that was alone.
Look, he definitely walked around the area a few times. He definitely found it.
Yeah.
You just don't go to some nursery and just think, you know what, that's what I'm picking. He's mapped the area a few times. He's been
exactly. What I'm hearing from criminal justice is that this guy was an illegal immigrant and he did come here from a boat.
Well, that's not true.
Born in Cardiff.
No. I know things, and this is.
It's been proven born in Cardiff.
I get that we get things in the papers, but how can you believe a paper? Right? I know. I work within the system, and I know.
How can you trust Trump?
What?
It's just like saying, how do you trust Trump?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that I know this guy came from a boat. Like I literally know that.
Nobody knows. But I also, the other thing I thought about him being, has he been radicalized? Has he been told, like a suicide bomber? Has he been told to do this? That he was going to get, has it somebody put it in his head?
May I say quick? May I say quick, Tony? Could you put a poll on who thinks that the government should monitor us? Because when Judy is saying that this person sort of had an indecent past, shouldn't the government should be sort of tracking this person?
10 minutes. Can I just say something? I know. I work within the criminal justice system. He was known to the M15.
Yes.
Right, I've got to drop you out at that point because listen, I'm not going to have it come that saying from my live we're given misinformation and listen until it's released by the people high up in the amount of days that they're going to need to do that. Everything that you hear in this chat is speculation only, and we're not going to dox no names either in the chat. Okay, please. We're not going to do that. We're this speculation here. Everyone everyone thinks they know this and everyone thinks, and including myself, you know, and that's being up straight. But I'm not going to say no names. I can turn around and say, well, listen, I seen this and that last night, and, you know, but yeah, I'm not going to have someone come up here and say, I work in a justice system, I can guarantee it's this person. It's not going to happen on my live feed. All right. Judgy Mac Fudgy, thank you very much for joining us as well. Someone's mic is giving a bit of feedback. I'm not too sure whose. If you want to request and come up and have a chat, you can. For the people that's in the boxes, I will be bringing some of you up as well in a second. Good morning. Good morning, O'Malley. I'll wait till your live is there. Good morning.
Hello, mate. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning to you. How are you?
Not too bad, man. I've been working. I just came in and I saw you were on again.
Yeah, I'm trying
to say that what you just did there was amazing. I have so much respect for that. It's just calling it out. No shouting, no script, just like this is it. Bob, see you later.
You know, I've stumbled across so many live feeds where I had a person in here earlier on, and he put on the green screen and he put a picture. Now I don't want to do that because, you know, if it hasn't been released, you could put someone's name out there that could put them and the families at risk. And it was stated in here earlier on, you could put someone seriously at risk, and wait until people that's high up, that's in the position to release the details, because otherwise you could put someone's life at risk. Now, I was sending a load of stuff last night and I stated in here that I'm 99.9% sure, but I still won't say nothing. I'm still not going to say it because it's not for me to dox anything or anyone, because listen, we can all be detectives or we can be Columbos, but until it's released by proper officials, by high up, you know, well, do you understand what I mean? And we're not going to do that. So, Daisy, if you want to request again, I know you requested earlier on. If you want to request again, you can. O'Malley, what are you coming up to speak about? I know we've slightly went off topic. You know, since we've been on the live, we've slightly went off topic. My point here was, you know, are we going down a road with civil unrest? Is there going to be more outbreaks of what we're seeing right now between, you know, all the protests? Everyone is up and out, and is it going to get out of hand? And that's the question I have for the people in the boxes. We kind of sidetracked off the actual topic we have. You know, we've seen a protest in London today, yesterday. We've seen what's happened in that town where it happened with them children, and rest in peace to them children, and I pray for all the families involved. 100%. Do we think that this is going to be something that's going to, you know, it's I wouldn't say a trend. But is people going to look at it, and people in certain towns, and think, right, you know, they're out in the streets. I'm going to get out in the streets.
Yeah, I think this is just the beginning, mate. It is.
And I do believe that. That's why I went to London earlier on.
We had the Southport thing, you know, and it kicked off, and now London, and then obviously, you know, we had it elsewhere. It's going to keep going on. And maybe
I'd probably go the other side, though, because I think you see things like this a lot, and people, with things like what happened at the Southport and that, a lot of the majority of people were there just to basically get rowdy and have a scrap and all of that. There was that people jump onto those things very quickly, and people move on.
It's just mad.
Yeah, that's it. But you look at like the Brixton riots. Like I live in Bristol. We've had ones here. You'll have that. I think it's not going to be some massive thing. Same with like the Just Stop Oil, all of that stuff. Do you know what I mean? It all just it's not anything. It's not going to be some big like. There's always a divide in that, but I don't think there's no worry of in your town or wherever you are, like everyone's going to sort of come out like sleeper cell agents, and like everyone's going to start.
There is one side that I'm trying
It is escalating, just like one of my mods has just stated there that time, and a very very lovely woman. You know, it is escalating. It would seem to be escalating
from one side.
It would seem. Daisy, thank you. Daisy, you can request a box. There is some space if the people want to join up. Good morning to you as well, Natalie. Good morning to everyone here, even the silent watchers. Good morning to everyone. I appreciate everyone that does join in, and even the silent watchers. Thank you all for coming in. Look, I personally think myself that we could see something happening. It could. This is speculation, by the way, people, and anything here on this live, we're speculating. Okay, all right. That's all. We like to have a discussion. We like to speculate. I think. I think, Marty, how do you feel about tomorrow, the court case up in Liverpool?
To be honest with you, mate, I don't have an opinion on it, and the reason I say that is because it could go so many different ways. We had the thing with Reece Jones. I'm sure we all know that one with Sean Mercer, and Liverpool went crazy over that. And he's got quite a few years left, but even then, people still complain, and he's still very much here, if you know what I mean. And he's had a couple of attacks in there, but he's still here. And I think this is just it. You never really know how it's going to go. So I'm not going to predict, and I'm not going to speculate out of respect as well. Really,
of course,
I don't care less about him, but for the family, because I don't want to say something and someone here go, "Oh, I know the family. I'm going to say that and plant a seed in their mind." Because it's not fair to them. It really
isn't. Exactly. It really isn't. Yeah, it really is not. It really is not fair. No. It could. I know a couple of the residents I spoke at earlier on. They did say they just said there was a few people meant to be meeting up in Liverpool tomorrow, but they haven't said nothing about protests and this, that, and the other. But I think it was regarding this fella being up in court tomorrow, and I think that was regarding that.
Can I just quickly add in there?
Go ahead.
Tony, you were talking about civil unrest. I'm not going to say war. Oh, I just said it. Sorry, apologies. But civil unrest. Apologies.
Yeah, no worries. Don't worry.
So because there's civil unrest, I think it will escalate. Personally, this is my view. I get what everyone else thinks, but there will be civil unrest. Like the Twin Towers and how it was destroyed. A lot of malleable minds were sort of indoctrinated into fighting that sort of war. It will happen here in our country, in England, where malleable minds someone will put a little inkling into their mind where it's a certain group or a certain people will have this thinking that there's certain people have done it, and then there will be civil unrest.
Yeah, but that's not a new thing though. That's something that's been in people's minds. It's been like
the thing is with 9/11, and it was obviously very traumatic.
I didn't want to say 9/11. I just want to say that.
Yeah, I've got a lot of friends who were there as well, who served after that. And the thing is, when America went through that, their services with the police and the fire brigade and the army, they all came together for their nation. They really did, and it was absolutely beautiful how close they come together as a nation. But what we're going through at the minute, with the incident in Manchester and then yesterday with the riots, I think we can't trust our service any less. And I think that's the concern there, that, these are the people who are meant to protect us and all this stuff. We can't go near them. They're battering people in the street.
Sorry, Marty,
hang on a minute. They're arresting people for no reason.
Sorry, Marty, but that's what I'm saying is that malleable minds, some people who did join the American Marines went into Afghan without knowing what they did, what the actual war is about. And I'm sort of like putting that in English in England, where no one knows what they did, but they're going to fight a civil unrest war, and they didn't know what they didn't know what happened, but they're going to have a civil sort of war. But without knowing what they did, and it's going to just escalate.
This is different. In the 80s, when we had Brixton, Birmingham riots, I was around then, and it was the government, Thatcher. Everybody was against Thatcher and the government and wanted things changing. This time, it's not even necessarily the government. It's about people are coming. There's too many, and what's happening is people are feeling it in their pockets, in their jobs, not being able to buy a house, overcrowding, not being able to get a doctor's appointment, A&E, full to the brim, not being able to get an operation.
I think
so it's not just about fighting the government. This is about a civil disorder that's in their communities. They are seeing infrastructure is just not enough. Education, schools.
That's what I'm saying. People like
stop going to walls.
Sorry, see, this is what I'm saying. People like Nigel Farage and Rob Tommy Robertson will sort of use these young minds to make a civil unrest, will make these civil wars happen, like Bush did, where he's made these sort of young Marines, go over to Afghan for no reason but to seek for war.
Revolutions. We have to have revolutions.
But
Can I interrupt? I'm going to interrupt at this point, and I'm going to say personally my opinions, right? If you really look into that situation, I'm telling you now myself that 9/11 was an inside job. It was a reason to get back into a certain country for certain reasons and certain gain. And I don't care. That's my opinions, and I'm entitled to them. And that's how I feel. And also, just off the back of that, what I want to say, and if you look, and if you really go down a rabbit hole with that, if you look, George Bush's brother was in control of security leading up to that, and. And he was at a security, and it was closed at certain times leading up. And that, people, if you really look at that, I understand there was planes going into that and so on, right? You're talking about the country with the biggest military, meant to be some of the highest security. Let me just finish. Some of the highest security ever, all right? And you're telling me they managed to let that go ahead and happen. And you're telling me even at the Pentagon, one of the biggest well-known buildings back there, that it was only a CCTV camera that could pick up footage of a... Get out of my face. And that's just my opinions. And I'm entitled to...
Tony, I just want to say, if you watch the documentary about it, the towers collapsed. They had experts there, Nobel Prize laureates there, and they said it collapsed like a controlled explosion.
It did, and you can see it. You can see it in the documentary, and the 911truth.org will show you a lot of things, right? Now, just get me back. At Twin 7, they admitted that they had to, what the demolition people terms as drop it or something like that. There was a word used. That. Now, how did you have enough time to come in around that building and drop it like that? Get out of my... Listen, look, we're not going to go off track. And I don't want to get back onto the point about where we was. Sorry, I sometimes get into a bit of a fluster with myself. And when I'm hearing things, I think, oh, no, hang on.
Tony, can I... Cockroach will know this because she was around then. When the miners striked in the 80s... Sorry. Cockroach. When the miners striked in the 80s and they thought there was civil unrest was going to happen, my teachers told me, and they were sort of like, left of centre, that there were army deployed in police uniforms dealing with the miners. So do you think that the army have already been deployed in London?
There were also people paid vast amount of monies to get on buses and break the picket lines of these people and go to work. They were paid lots, triple of what a miner would get, and they went on these buses. And they were from all sorts of towns. There were a lot of desperate unemployed people around, remember, in the 80s. And the government, that back then, that allegedly... Well, I do know someone who drove one of the buses, so I know it's happening.
It's also that time as well, you got to remember, like Northern Ireland as well, like Belfast, there was army walking around the streets. And that was just became a normality, sadly.
So can I
do you think we're headed there now?
Can I ask a question to the panel here, or if it's panel? Can I ask the question, why is all this happening? Do you think it's planned?
I personally think it's planned. And let me tell you something now. I'm going to answer that with this, right? I'm going to answer that with this, and I'll let someone else take over afterwards, right? Now, people, just take a second to listen to what I'm saying, right? You can't name this attacker because he's 17, but you can put pictures and full names of the 3 children that was unalived.
Yeah.
So
with things like that, do you think some of them are a bit like they want to be famous, they want to be attention, they want...
No, listen to what I'm saying. You can't put the name of the person who done it, but you can antagonize and cause anger by putting the picture of the 3 children that has been unalived on the news, full name and ages.
Yeah. Can I just quickly interject? So you were talking about how Bush, and please don't kick me out for this. I'm just trying to be devil's advocate here. Now Bush, and I know you believe this, Tony. Bush obviously curated this area. Maybe, and I'm speculating here, this is all speculation, maybe he was curated on this side to sort of hate a certain group in this country, because a lot of like Nigel Farage and Tommy Robinson are sort of pushing this hate on a certain group of people. And now that's what's sort of happening here.
Nick Griffin, he mentioned it on his last interview, how when he was the leader of the British National Party, a group of, I don't know if I can say it, I don't want to get chucked out, but a big group of Z people approached him, offered him a certain amount of money to pinpoint at two things. One was the Muslims, where everything they do, they have to put the Muslims in focus. And another one was, I forgot the other one, so I think it was something social. And Nick Griffin refused. And he said, no, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do it in the way where my country's people appreciate the way I do it. And I'm fighting for my country first, and then I'll fight for whatever else that you're paying me for. Because he refused, they took him down, and the person that accepted the money today is the EDL.
Well, that's speculation.
So people in the chat, just put a Z in front of what I'm saying about lioness, all right? And you may as well say this, but that's exactly who you're referring to, yeah?
And I'd like to say quickly, you were mentioning about the Twin Towers. I'm just saying that maybe, theoretically, in a scenario that maybe the English area, the England, with Southport happening, they could be taking a page out of the Americans to start a civil war against a certain group of people. That's what I'm just saying. Right? I'm not trying to.
It is, because majority of the oil, majority of the gas, majority of the underground resources belong in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Everything has to do with the petrodollar.
And I have no hate against these certain groups. I know we all know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I have no hate against these people. They're great people. I'm sort of best friends with these certain people. But because the sort of English people have sort of banded together because of this rhetoric, because this happened, they're sort of labeling this person, this 17-year-old, as that person from that group.
Yeah, well, that's why twice, once in Leeds and now in Southport, both times false information came out that it's the Muslims. Because they don't want civil unrest with anyone else. They want civil unrest and civil unrest with the Muslims. So the minute the Muslims come out, they'll be like, yes, they've come out, we're coming out, there's going to be a civil unrest.
And they're sort of banding against these people.
Basically, they're trying to pull us out, and we're not coming out, thinking, no, it's not our problem. Leeds wasn't our problem. Southport isn't our problem. The people that died, the young innocent girls that died, we give our hearts to them. Unalived. We give our hearts to them, and we appreciate their families and going through a difficult time. We pray for them, but we're not going to come out just because you're trying to pull us out for something that we're not connected to. We're not that stupid. We know what you're doing. We know what's going on. And yes, like you said, is there going to be a civil unrest? Maybe there will be, and then that will be between the EDL and the EDL, but not between us Muslims and them. They are literally trying to call for the last week and a half, I think. That a lot of these lives have been saying, is there going to be a civil unrest? Are they going to come out? Are they going to come out? Are people going to come out? No, the Muslim side is not coming out. We're staying inside. You guys want to fight?
Where I live, I actually live in Leicester, which is one of the first places in England to have more or less English people in the county than other race. But we've had a big problem with Muslims and Hindus fighting a hell of a lot.
Yeah, they're all over cricket.
Well, who cares if it's over cricket? It's violent and it's in the streets and it's awful.
We don't know why the Hindus called us out. Even the Hindus were like, why are you calling them out?
But we've had also grooming gangs in all over the place as well. So no one is totally innocent. And I would also say a lot of segregation has happened in the community by the schools and like is separating themselves from us, having specialised schools.
Look at the screen a second.
Not
these are all the English fellas, men and women in the
there's a bigger one. There was one with the 21.
This is 21. And some of them got stupid. Some of them got life sentences. I couldn't believe it.
21 of them. Together.
21 in total. 21. And there's multiple different things I could put up here, but there's multiple different ones I could put up here.
And that's why people are angry. That's why they're out on the streets, because of the infrastructure and all this other stuff.
These ones don't get highlighted. It's just the ones with the brown skin. Highlight them.
No, Abdul, listen. Right, Muslim religion, as I understand it, is quite a peaceful religion, and I'm sure there's wonderful people who are Muslims who are caring and everything. But there are always hardcore of them that seem to be now against us.
But hang on. I could say that we could say that about everyone. What you've just said, dear, but in your version of saying it, that there's good and bad in everyone.
I own that. I'm owning my experience of living in Leicester is this. I am owning that I have to walk around on the peripherals of things now. And it's sad. When we...
Yes, but Cockroach, I live up the road from you. And when my father came here, we had white English neighbours and we got on very well. We lived like family.
Yes, and wasn't it wonderful? And we had a multicultural society, and now people have pigeonholed in special schools where they don't want to relate.
My parents said to me, if you don't behave, you treat your teachers with respect.
Exactly.
And with your parents, and if I did something out of hand at school and the teachers disciplined me in maybe physical way, I knew I'd get worse at home.
No, but how did that start? It started with you're taking my job when obviously we weren't, or my parents weren't taking their jobs. They were working in the mine, in the textile mills.
No, it started by people. Obviously, are people, and in a group of people, you're always going to want one set of people want to be above the others.
That's not the childhood I remember, because I remember four times now, where the British National Party, the one before that, I don't remember the name, and then the EDL come into, I'll say, Asian majority areas with rioting gear, green jackets, bald heads, coming into the areas to beat us up, and we were children back then. 4 times.
Yeah, we had National Front. We had National Front. I was beaten up by a group of 12.
Not a single time has an Asian group come together and said, let's go to a Caucasian majority area and let's go and beat them up because they're taking our jobs.
Yes, they do in Leeds.
Can I just say, sorry? These old views nowadays. Sorry, Abdul. Sorry. Nowadays, it doesn't happen as often. There are values. I think that when people come to this country, as I did from, I'm going to say Fiji. I came from Fiji. When you come into this country as an immigrant, an illegal immigrant, I think it should be implanted in people's brains that you need to adopt English values.
Hallelujah.
I get you have your culture. Okay, this
and
culture.
Can I just say, I respect your religion and I respect your right to practice and your culture and your food and everything.
That's not what we're saying.
You don't have to tell us that we're not allowed to do this or we're not allowed to do that in our own country, and that's what's happened.
Who said you're not allowed to do anything?
No one said.
No. Can I just finish my point?
Well,
Sorry, can I just finish my point?
We can't have school plays at Christmas anymore.
Can I just finish my point quick?
They
Sorry.
used to participate. I remember the Sparrow songs that I used to participate on. The Christmas, what do you call them?
Carols.
Not the carols. The other one where, the manger and the Jesus and...
Yeah, the nativity.
I was a tree. On one of those.
One of my best friends, he's Muslim. His son was in a play. He was one of the 3 wise men.
Yeah, I was a tree.
But you can't do it now. You're not allowed. It's stopped.
No,
I've not heard of any of that.
It's all rubbish. People are just speculating and making stuff up. The school.
I played a sheep once in a play.
Sheep.
Yeah.
It's all speculation and rumour mongering and
Cockroach. Actually, you'll find that we're told that the people closest to you in faith are those who call themselves Christians.
Yeah.
Can I just quickly finish my point? Sorry, can I just quickly finish my point? Right. So, as a Fijian national, and I still have my passport because, you know, I still love my country.
Proud.
As I came over, all right, I still have my culture. Everyone has their culture. Every people who from a foreign country have their culture. But you need to adopt English values, you know, democracy, rule of law, respect, tolerance, and individual liberty. You need to adopt that because that's what this country was built on. That's why this country has gone so far.
Yeah,
you know,
that's what's never changed. That's
exactly.
We agree with that.
I
agree with that.
But when I've come
We
into
don't
this
agree
country,
with that. We're supposed to follow the law of the land that you're living in.
Yeah,
and that's
the
what I've
rule.
done.
And we have individuals that don't adopt the correct understanding due to ignorance, extreme views, and they give all of us a bad name.
And that's what I'm saying.
If we talk about the extremists, they're the funniest people in the world.
No.
Now,
let me just finish. Let me.
Just before I forget this moment, I'm just going to talk about the extremists on. I'll say our end in like, you know, lightly, because they're not from us. But they're the funniest people in the world because they hate the West. They live in the West.
But they've come to this country.
No, hold on. They hate the West. They haven't come into this country. They're born into this country. So they hate the West. They live in the West. But when you tell them, go back to the Middle East, they're like, no, we can't do that because they'll top us. I'm like, well, that's what you wanted. You wanted to live in the Sharia. Go live under Sharia. And they're like, no, they'll top us. So it's what you wanted. So they hate the Middle East because the Middle East will top them because they're extremists, or they live here for safety.
Can I finish my point quick?
That's the two things that we have. When you have extremists, that's what the punishment they get.
Yeah.
They're
not tolerated.
Because you get topped. In the Middle East,
can I just quickly say?
You will get topped.
Can I just quickly say? I think that from the get-go, from the gates, literally from even the boats, that when you come into this country, they should be told, this is not, and I'm trying to be, you know, devil's advocate. I'm trying to be a straight line. You should be told that this is not your country, and I'm not trying to be racist at all. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, Tony.
It's a fact.
I'm trying to say this is not, you know, this is not your country. We have beliefs here that you need to adopt. No, and you have your culture. I get that you have your culture. You know, my culture is very strict on certain stuff. But when you come here, you need to adopt it. And I have adopted it so much that I've gone to your school system. I've joined your military, and I love it because we've come from different countries to enjoy the liberties that the English have. And I am enjoying it to the fullest extent.
Do you get English people hating on you all the time?
No, I don't get hate because I'm in the military, and a lot of people love, you know, the fact that I'm, and it's such a celebrated thing in my country when you join.
I love my Asian friends. We laugh and cook.
I'm not Asian. I'm a
just
Pacific
saying,
Islander.
I come about cultures. I have Muslim friends. I have Hindu friends. They're lovely, you know. But the fact is,
what the issue is
they've
with
adapted.
Migrants is when they come over. Yes, you're getting the criminals that are coming over. Sorry, Marty, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Okay. No, it's okay, mate.
When they come over, they're coming from a war-torn country or wherever. They've got that mindset. Some of them are just coming here just to work, and some of them are just coming here to get away from whatever they're trying to get away from. And some of them are actually coming in here to hurt people. But the reason is we can't differentiate is because they're not being vetted.
But now, how do we differentiate this?
How?
Yeah. Sorry, Tony. Thank you. By the way, I'd like to thank Tony for, you know, hosting this. I just came in randomly, but thank you, Tony.
You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome.
But this is an island country. This is an island country, and it's not like Europe with land borders. If you're going to defend a country, you would have the easiest task with an island nation with no land borders.
Then we have a ring of steel around our island. Why?
No,
because we have the boats, which is what we keep being told, despite the fact that actually the numbers coming in by the boats, while the numbers coming in other means, is that there's a massive difference. This should be a very easy nation to defend from illegal migration.
Yeah,
versus tiny island managed to have the British Empire and like rule a load of the world. Being this tiny little island.
It did.
Yeah,
It did.
yeah.
And it caused a lot of problems
It
around the
shouldn't
world,
have.
and that's why
It
they're all
shouldn't have
coming
this
back.
issue, should it?
Say that again.
If it was,
I said it shouldn't have this issue. It's a small country, and it's an island, and in reality, it shouldn't have this issue. There's no land borders here. It's got one of the best navies in the world. Historically, one of the best
Not
navies.
anymore.
no, it's still
Why
number
can't
one.
they defend a small island?
It's still number one navy in the,
Is
in the
it?
world.
Yeah.
I thought they cut
It's still one of
loads
the
of
best navies in the
cutbacks on
world.
No, the,
our armed forces.
the cutbacks are basically what they're doing now. They're training other armies. You won't have a fantastic army of training other people. So
That was
yes.
that was also like when you guys talking about like Afghanistan and Iraq, that what that's something I'm very passionate about. So my dad, I was born in Ireland, I grew up in England. He's Irish, and then but he ended up moving to England, and then joined. He was in the Marines, so he went to Iraq, Afghanistan. So something that I feel very because I spent a lot of my like childhood basically hoping he was all right, and you wouldn't know.
Amen.
And like most of the time when they were there, they got there very quickly and they were like, of course there's nothing here for us. It's all a big political play for hoping someone would find oil or they could have an excuse. So a load of the time they were there was training the Afghani military to try and help them defend from the Taliban.
Yeah.
But they didn't give them like the proper training or the weapon or the infrastructure to do it, which is why as soon as everyone left when it wasn't profitable anymore, the Taliban just took back over.
Well, look what Joe Biden
It's like buying someone a pair of football boots and going, go on, you're up front for United. Away you go.
And can I say, Rise, from your point here, that's what I'm saying, you know, with these young minds don't know what they're actually fighting for, you know, in England. People have, like Nigel Farage, have put things in their mind and they're fighting the wrong person. Whereas this, like, because we don't know the identity of this person, and I'm sorry, Tony, for sort of speculating. No one knows the identity of this person. And Nigel Farage or these right-wing people are putting things in their mind and they're fighting the wrong people. Whereas they're not fighting this one person who is just probably mentally ill. And again, I'm sorry, Tony, for speculating.
No, he's not mentally ill. Definitely not mentally ill.
Or mentally, like, you know, I don't know what's in his mind.
If you're mentally
No,
ill,
it's
you don't go
bigger
back.
than that one person, though. It's because of being pushed down for so long and losing so much. Young people are so desperate and they want to vent.
And they're rioting for no reason, whereas they don't
Well,
know
the
what they're
reasons are
actually
very
rioting
valid.
for.
No, the rioting is funny because if you're gonna riot, you're gonna riot in a proper manner. Why are you going down to a shop, looting the shop, and then destroying someone else's shop, coming out and then going back rioting and then going back to your own cities?
It's also this poor families that have gone through like trauma and all of that. And imagine you've had this horrific thing. I couldn't even begin to imagine how it feels. And then you look outside, and all of this is kicking off.
Imagine.
And it's like just help these people. You know, if you want to help, be there, be able to support however you can. Don't go and start having a fight with someone.
I'm just going to say straight away again, and I'm sorry to bring up me degree here, but I use it every day, and I think it's important because we say here about is he evil or is he not? And I just think, you know, for years, and even for decades actually, you know, we can't really say if someone's evil or not, or they're born evil, because we can't measure evil. I'd love to say, yeah, he is, because what he did is sick and it's unforgivable, but is he born evil or what? We can't really say. We really can't say. And like Tony said, until the information comes out, we can speculate and all this, but we've got to be careful what we say.
The same debate with those two dudes who killed that. Was it James Baldrick? The two, they were so young, and they got new identities, and that was the whole debate of like, should they, shouldn't they?
You know, and it was often because we had to study that and all, and it was often, well, were they born evil, or you know, was it down to
nature
of problems within their personal lives growing up?
I don't think anyone's born evil. No one's born evil. It's how they are brought. Like racism is not taught, not programmed into someone. It's taught. Racism is taught, like evil is taught. That's all I'm going to say.
But this is it, and in regards to like mental illness, we can say, oh yeah, he's not mentally ill. Well, he may be, he may not be, because the thing is, mental illness is so diverse. You can be completely insane and you would never know it. No one would be able to identify it just by looking at you like something you do. You can get on a plane and go back, and back and forth and travel the world and be completely out of it, and you would never know, because the amount of diagnosis that you can have all at once, it's terrifying. With that being said, I think diagnosis gets thrown around way too loosely these days.
Would you map out an area before you go and attack it if you're mentally ill?
You know what? Believe it or not, it's happened before.
Yeah.
People who have been mentally unwell have mapped out areas. Yes, they have.
I've seen these programs where they've got post-it notes all over the walls, and they're obsessed by it, and they're planning, and
Sorry, can I just interrupt for 1 second? I'm going completely off topic. Who was a man? I'm gonna speak say the letters because I don't know how to pronounce it. But Ismail, this is in the Middle East. Ismail, Hani. Yeah, he's just been unalived by an airstrike in Tehran.
The Hamas guy.
Is that's just came up on the screen there now? Sorry, I was just watching that.
Yeah, that was this morning. It was this morning. No, well, not this morning, but yesterday morning.
Oh, sorry. That just came up. Yeah. Sorry, that was completely irrelevant. I just thought that was new stuff that was coming up there now.
Yeah, it's not a surprise. Yeah, fair dues. It is what it is for him.
Yeah, you know what I think? I think there's such a massive divide between English and a certain group. In the past, 1,000 years ago, the Crusade, there was a massive divide then, and I think a few certain politicians are trying to bring that divide back. I know England is such a tolerant place, but I think they're just trying to bring that intolerance back. And
it's come to bite us on the bum for being tolerant, hasn't it? Because now the other people who are very angry at us, who are from different nationalities, they seem to segregate themselves, where we wanted to welcome people, and we were told by laws that we had to.
But you have. Can I just
go back to what Cockroach just said that time? Sorry. Can I just reply back to that? It shouldn't be certain nationalities or certain ethnicities that should be angry. We should be angry all together of what one individual has done.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
You see, but that's what I'm saying. Is people are putting certain narratives to, like, no one knows this person who did this terrible crime, but because no one knows it, certain individuals are trying to blame it on certain people, and that's why they're trying to divide. English people. English people are probably one of the most strongest people on earth. We're sort of always band together.
And I'm sure some of you may agree. It's like nowadays in the UK, it's like if someone's had their life taken by someone else, someone will naturally go, "Oh, were they white? Were they black? Were they Muslim? Were they?" And they naturally jump to some conclusions. They want an answer there and then, as opposed to just accepting that a life has been taken because of a traumatic event. They have to know the culture or religion. Why?
It's not like a normal thing either. You never met anyone and gone, "Hello, where were you born? Which God do you believe in?"
Exactly.
Yeah. So coming from the other end, what Cockroach said is that we are trying to keep away from the Caucasian people of this country. That's factually incorrect, because we've always tried to mingle. My street is Sikh, English.
And
blacks.
When did you arrive, or were you born here? When did your parents arrive?
I was born here. My parents came whenever they came. I don't remember when they came.
And that was a different sort of thing. For one, we needed you. We asked you to come. We'd actually been to lots of areas, and we'd done things that we shouldn't have done. And after the Second World War, we did need people to come, and we asked people to come.
Yeah, so that's
And
when my parents
often,
came over.
a lot of the nations had fought with us alongside in the
So
World War.
that's when my parents came over. After that,
Yes,
war
we
happened
were
and everything.
very appreciative, and there was a difficult transition for some people. I've never suffered it, and I'm sorry if anybody you know or you
So
have.
this is where the suffering came in. We came in. We came to my parents came to the land. They came with other people. They stood around, and you had Caucasian people with green jackets and bald heads saying, "You're taking our jobs."
Yeah,
and that's when we thought, do we approach you? Do we be nice to you? What do we do? Do we stay away from you? And then we grew.
And what did you do?
My family side, and other Asian families, and other Sikh families, and they stayed away because they didn't want to get beaten up. Remember the time where there was pea bashing? There was pea bashing. There was a thing called pea bashing. So
Yes,
we used
I
to keep away
remember.
because our families, my brothers and them lot, every time they used to come back from school, they used to get pea bashed.
Well, you're going to always get fear of the unknown. So a new race of people come, it's a fear.
The fact that you said that we're trying to keep away, it wasn't us trying to keep away. We were trying to mingle. We were trying to connect. We were trying to come up to people and say hi and hello and everything. But when you get pea bashed, would you come back? You wouldn't. You wouldn't go near someone that's
What
gonna
I
pea bash
see
you.
as well in Leicester, where I live, is lots of multicultural integration.
No, but that changed after the riots. That changed after the riots. So the riots happened, everything
Yes.
changed. The pea bashing people went back to their little huts, and the Asian people got more, confident. And they
I've
started
been
doing
pea
what they
bashed. I've
Yeah.
been pea bashed.
I have
Overall,
as well.
overall, if you put it in the balance, if we're being fair,
Yeah.
I think that the
We've
British
still got
people
trauma. We've still got
overall,
trauma from
you get
pea
your minority in any race or
Yes,
culture
you
or
do.
land. Overall,
You
I
get
think that
fundamentalists.
actually overall, if you look at the whole picture, it's a very tolerant country overall.
Yes.
You know, when you look at the whole picture, the big picture, then if you go back to the events that happened, 9/11, 7/7, you can go on and on and on. But overall, it's actually remarkably tolerant, actually.
Yeah, now
And I think
Nowadays
the
it is.
British people, yes, there are rotten apples in everything, but I think most of it was from not knowing and unknown and fear. And also, it's put around and taking your
The same thing is
jobs.
happening with migrants, because if these
Yes.
migrants don't come over and they don't take the apple picking jobs or the farming jobs or
Well, there are
all these jobs that
certain-
no one wants to do.
If I could just
There
say
are
there,
certain
Cockroach.
pockets in this country who do not represent you, Abdul, probably, I don't know, or whatever, who want to separate us all.